Good morning, sailors, and welcome back to the final McMichael weather briefing presented by SeaTactics Chelsea Freas. Today is IHG Hotels and Resorts Race Day. We're excited to welcome IHG Hotels and Resorts as a new sponsor this year in a unique club-wide category, supporting all of Storm Trysail Club's regattas. As a major partner in everything Storm Trysail, IHG is helping elevate the experience of our members and competitors alike. Be sure to enjoy those skipper's bags thanks to IHG. And when planning your next trip, consider one of their 6,600 hotels and resorts across 100 countries. And thanks to McMichael Yacht Yards Brokers for making possible these daily Block Island Race Week weather briefings. For 90 years, McMichael has been serving the yachting community, bringing you J-boats, Hanses, Dailers, Amels, Ricks, and now Marex boats. And when you return to your home port, should you be interested in buying another boat or selling your current one, contact McMichael in Mamaroneck, Newport, Huntington, and soon in Annapolis. Chelsea, thanks for sharing your weather knowledge with all the boats this week. What do you forecast to happen today?
Good morning, sailors, and welcome to the final day of Block Island Race Week 2025. Looking at the big picture weather today, we have that stalled front that has been to our south, still sitting to our south. And similar to yesterday, we have high pressure to the north that is pushing down into our area. It's going to be slowly sinking further south through the day, which is going to bring veering winds. So we've got sort of northeast, east-northeast winds this morning. They're going to be turning a little bit more easterly as the day goes on. Taking a look at our visible satellite this morning, it's mostly cloudy with kind of this low cloud deck here, but I do think that once the sun angle is a little higher and we get a little heating, this should start to break up because we are expecting a lot of sun today. But the more cloud cover sticks around, the longer it may take for the wind speeds to come up towards that forecasted range that we're going to look at. So just so you know the differences there, this is something that would keep the wind speeds a little bit lower today. The wind speeds this morning at the moment around 10 to 12 at Block, much lighter up in Narragansett Bay, Buzzards Bay Tower around 12, and then, up around 10 knots in eastern Long Island Sound. So we're not quite up to our forecasted values yet. You can see we've been trending the last few hours a little bit below the forecasts. So like I said, I think that's because of the cloud deck. We are going to wait and see how much clouds will break up and how much sun we're going to get, and that will help us get higher wind speeds because there is a little bit of wind shear today with higher winds just aloft above the surface, and I don't think that's going to have too much trouble mixing down today. There aren't any inversions or other things in place to prevent that. So my forecast for today, as you can see, it's a bit higher than what we have out there right now, but basically in the lull areas, because we are sailing in the lee of Block Island with the easterly wind. So in the light areas, it's going to be potentially 8 or 9, getting up to mid-teens. And you can see for the further south areas, it's always much stronger further south today. So blue course is going to have stronger breeze. There's a potential for maybe a gust to 20. The gust factor is sitting right around 20 knots today. So if the sun comes out early, and you're further south, there is a chance there for mid to upper teens, maybe a gust to 20. But remember, the breeze is going to be kind of decreasing as we go through the afternoon and starting to veer. We see most of that veering happening sort of after 2 p.m., but it will start to kind of clock right a little bit around midday, especially if the velocity starts to go down. So in general, as the wind goes right, velocity will be kind of slowly going down. And if it stays cloudier or if the velocity is stronger, those will be more left wind directions. Okay, so as I was just mentioning, if it's cloudy, winds towards the left end of the range, that's kind of in the 80 to 100 forecast for today. And it also may take longer for the winds to increase this morning, the longer it stays cloudy. But in general, if there is just cloudy areas over your course, you can expect lighter winds further left underneath them. If it's sunnier areas of the course, expect stronger pressure and further right. That's from it mixing down from aloft. And then overall, if it's turning sunnier, winds will start veering a little bit sooner. Taking a look at just the spatial differences, like I mentioned, we are going to be sailing kind of in the lee and a little bit of a wind shadow, especially green course. So I'm sure these courses will get moved from where I have them here based on the wind direction. But just so you know, it is lighter generally more north and central Block Island. And then the further south you go, the stronger the wind speed is. So we've got sort of at the upper end, mid-teens to upper teens, outer courses, lighter areas may only be around 8 to 10 knots. So we see that for the first couple hours of the day. And then around 1 p.m., winds veering, and you can see lighter, again, further north, more like 10 to 12, and maybe up to 13, 14 down here, but we're starting to decrease quite a bit after 2 p.m. We can also see winds are more easterly, and continuing to veer through 3 p.m. The other thing you can look out for is that if the courses are set so that the top end windward mark is relatively close to land, and we say like that's within a mile or so, if that's the case, there's going to be more lefty in the wind, left shifts towards the top of the course. And that may be the case in general today anyways, but generally friction will cause the winds to go left. If your course is very far offshore, more than a couple of miles, not really applicable in that case. Looking at the currents, we're sort of at the end of the flood here for the beginning part of the day around 11, 12. And then as the day goes on, the current really starts to decrease from the flooding direction. And so we're pretty much just going to see a lot lighter current further north. And it really looks like it's only a factor maybe across the blue course in the offshore areas, but it is decreasing as we get towards that low tide around 2. So it's becoming more slack. But generally for most of the afternoon, we can see it's kind of actually pushing south to north for most of the afternoon. And that does it for me. So thank you guys so much for having me. It's been awesome getting to talk to a lot of you sailors. Hope you had a great Block Island Race Week, and we can't wait to see you back here in 2 more years.
Thanks, Chelsea. Great job this week, and thanks to McMichael and SeaTactics for making these weather briefings happen. Now, here's your final Race Week fun fact. If you think about it, Block Island Race Week is one of the few major race weeks that are still, well, a week long. You may ask why, but the reason is pretty simple. Block Island Race Week has evolved to reflect the desires of the sailors. There's been the evolution of race course offerings, including performance cruising and pursuit races. The race management has always been top-notch. There are more opportunities for sailing families, and not to mention the camaraderie one finds when you import a few thousand sailors onto a small island. Add to that all of Storm Trysail Club's sponsor support, and don't forget the legendary Block Island Race Week parties. Now, if you agree that this week is meeting or exceeding your expectations, make your reservations now for Block Island Race Week 32. Remember, in Block Island lingo, that's only one Block Island year away. Stand by at 0900 for today's final race committee announcements, and come to the awards ceremony in the tent tonight at 1500 and have a safe passage back to your port. For Storm Trysail Club, McMichael's Yacht Brokers, and SeaTactics, this is Buttons Padine signing off. See you in 2027.